One. Thank you, Tony. Today, like Tony said, another eventful day of sessions. Two sessions I attended today. One was on definition of a clock hour. Really not any new information other than the information that we had previously heard, but some relevant information. The major takeaway from that particular session was the fact that, number one, they are now looking to apply the definition of a clock hour specifically to programs that are gainful employment programs, essentially giving other institutions and other programs that are not gainful employment related a pass on a number of the key elements, such as the fact that you have to have the conversion from clock hours to credit hour, the justifications and approval and review and oversight through your accrediting body. So we had heard that this was coming for several weeks, and in fact, for the first time, the department on their second slide, which we will be sending out the slide information for you as well, on the second or third slide, they spoke specifically to the fact that they were narrowing this to gainful employment programs. Second session was state authorization. A number of takeaways there, nothing really new once again, but reaffirming a lot of prior information and our understanding of the program integrity regulations. Fred Sellers gave a presentation that encapsulated a great deal of what institutions need to do or not do with regard to their states, the 2-year grace period that is continuing to be given to work with your states in order to get the necessary information if you have not already done so. Also, a considerable amount of discussion around distance education, the fact that because of the pending lawsuit that they are not enforcing or implementing certain portions of those provisions with regard to distance education and the requirements that institutions would have to have compliance with every state's individual regulations as well as the federal legislation. Right now, the federal legislation or the federal regulations are not in effect, but you still have to be required to comply with all portions of each state's individual requirements. A couple of interesting discussions around that, not as relevant to our community as perhaps some of the others. With regard to the definitions under state authorization, there was a considerable amount of conversation on that. Again, nothing new, but specifically stating that the department is in fact trying to put together a compilation of all of the states' requirements and their regulations so that institutions can have a place to go to review those. Again, major emphasis on distance education. We yet again attended another session on gainful employment question and answers. Major takeaways, and Tony will share some of his with you and from that session as well, were once again the continued emphasis on the lack of clarity with regard to the entire process. Candidly, the department yet again had to huddle amongst themselves several questions which were brought up, including information and questions brought up by Ray Testa as well as others, caused the department to have to ponder yet again and led to the statement yet again that they would be putting more information up on the various Department of Ed website or the IFAP website and elsewhere. Major takeaway, still more to come, still more clarity that needs to come. Still candidly a great deal with regard to the department that they have not completed. They do recognize and acknowledge that there is improvement to be made on their side, everything from the review and recommendations for disclosures, the template for disclosures, through reporting and how the reporting process through NSLDS works and how the information can be submitted more efficiently and more effectively. Also, how that information can be corrected more efficiently and effectively. As was noted yesterday from my gainful employment discussion, or excuse me, on Tuesday from the first gainful employment, the first day of our days, there is a great deal of errors that are coming through in the gainful employment submissions and the reports. And if you have to correct them, you can't do it in a batch form. You have to literally make corrections on a file by file basis. And obviously that comes with considerable labor-intensive work on the part of the institutions in order to do so. But again, the good rapport that we had was, I think, beneficial. We spent a great deal of time with Jeff Baker, with John Coladas, with David and David Bergeron and Dan Madzellen, among many, many others. So with that, I'll turn it back over to Tony to once again wrap this up from day 3.